Namaste, Jai Hind. Welcome to MMK The Evil View. Viewers, we are going to see a very important update today about China. So when we speak about China, it was always about their military might, how fast they are modernizing their military. We keep on publishing the stories, we research, and we also cast those well-researched articles to you all. So today we are talking about a New York Times report, an investigative journalism report about China. So China is a very strong and a rapidly modernizing military force, we all know. By number of counts of ship, it's already the largest navy in the world. Though it doesn't have those many number of aircraft carriers which US has, but in sheer number of ships, China is number one in terms of number of ships in the world. Okay, so now the last time China ever tested a nuclear weapon or a nuclear bomb was way back like 50 years before. Now this New York Times article has published a satellite imagery which was taken by Maxter, and few satellite imagery experts have found out that in Xinjiang province, which is to the northwest of China, where they have already tested a nuclear weapon in a place called Lopnur, they are rebuilding that site. Lot of new military infrastructure has come up. In fact, a new large-scale military complex has come up. To add on to it, when you test a nuclear weapon, it is always underground. A huge hole is drilled deep inside the earth, depending on the size of the nuclear arm which you want to test, and that particular nuclear weapon is placed inside. It is exploded, and they test the intensity of it, the zero zone, and then zone 1, 2, 3, and 4. How much of kilojoules of energy it creates, and how much of radius of area it affects, and what is the impact of that nuclear weapon. Basis which you kind of flex your muscle to the world, see this is what we have. Secondly, it also helps you to plan your nuclear strike strategies in case of a nuclear war breakout. Now, when we speak about this, if you look at that imagery, there is a almost a mile long, 1.5 kilometer long, deep excavation, which is a drilling with a sizable one. So when certain experts in this nuclear armament, there are organizations like CIPRI who closely watch the arms race which is happening in the world, and the nuclear weapons experts who are there available, they have pointed out like the two greatest nuclear power, one is Russia and one is America. They have tested multiple nuclear weapons during the peak of Cold War, but the testing facility which is there in this particular location, Xinjiang, is of a massive size. It is much massive than what US and UK and Russia have portrayed to the world. Hope you got the context. The sheer size of the military complex where this nuclear device was tested by America and Russia versus the satellite imagery which shows China's nuclear buildup in the very same area of Lopnur is much larger. He says it's a very unprecedented scale. So this is a much larger one, and a complete complex has been built, and they want to try their modern nuclear weapon. So when you detonate a nuclear weapon, you get some valuable data. Basis that data, you keep on increasing, or you keep on elevate your nuclear technology. You go to the next level, you further enhance it up, new technologies. But how will you decide what is the impact of the new technology? For example, 50 years before when they tested, that particular nuclear weapon has yielded certain amount of energy, and it has proved certain amount of destruction. Let's take it as on a scale of 0 to 10, it is 3. Now after 50 years, with lot of technological advancement, you believe that on a scale of 0 to 10, where you have tested at 4, now has become say 40. That 4 is the base data, and you use mathematical modeling. There are a couple of other ways you can do it. You kind of extrapolate it, feed in those technologies inside, and then you do a mathematical modeling or a scientific modeling, and theoretically you work out, okay, with this technological advancements, my current nuclear arm which I am going to have, which I am having currently, will yield this much of destruction. It may be 4x, it may be 10x, it may be 100x, we really don't know. Now this is what you keep doing, because there is a, after post 96 there was a serious ban on any sort of nuclear testing, and we tested second time in 1999 during Atalji's era, and we were sanctioned, and we came out of the sanction after 2-3 years. So we all know this story. Post that there was no nuclear test in the world. There were stories here and there, but was no solid nuclear test which was happening in any part of the world. So in this scenario, when China has extrapolated their data and it comes out with some sort of yield that this is going to be my power, my nuclear arm is capable of destroying this much of a location or a radius of place or a city even, okay. But when you go and actually test it, the theoretical data which you extrapolated through a mathematical modeling versus what it actually yields. Now this data is very this is very much necessary if you are actually thinking of progressing into a nuclear war, either as a, to strike your enemy or to deter yourself from your enemy strike. Either way, you build your nuclear weapon only for these two things: you deter, or you want to strike someone, you want to threaten someone. So these are the two objectives of a nuclear weapon. Now size of this, they have planned something really big, which is like a massive scale, and they are doing it in Xinjiang region. Last time during Mao Zedong's era, when they did this, there was a report that hundreds and thousands of Uyghurs Muslims were killed because they belong to that particular region, and a lot of them suffer radiation effect even today, because it goes generation after generation, because it really affects your genetics. But there is no concrete evidence, because nothing comes out of China. We all know that there was absolutely no news about it. It was shut off. Now when you do this again of this particular scale, when the world is like facing one war after the other, but luckily not nuclear. Even Russia, last year we know that they kind of threatened about a nuclear strike and all, but that was more of a posturing rather than an actual threat. World didn't go take it that seriously. What happens if China does this? Now let's come to the analysis part. Now who is the number one enemy of China as China pursues? It is USA. Who is the regional enemy of China in Asia? That is India. So India, which shares a direct border with China, where the military relations and even the civil relations are at all-time low. Our soldiers have clashed hand to hand just 2 years before. There was one more attempt in Yangtze in Arunachal Pradesh. Things are like pretty serious in the current thing. India will also have to test. India also have to go nuclear, because when your most powerful enemy is doing a nuclear test of that massive scale, you cannot close your eyes and sit idle, which means India will be provoked to go and test its nuclear weapon. When India does it, Pakistan is also going to do. When China does it, America is going to do. America does it, eventually Russia has to do. So this is going to create a nuclear arms race across the world, especially for those countries which already has a nuclear weapon. The second fallout of this, Gulf nations, especially Iran, which wanted to go nuclear, has been contained because there is no nuclear test which is happening post 1996, except India's 99 and Pakistan subsequently did. So they have been controlled and contained. Now, like Iran cannot be controlled anymore on the justification, don't test any nuclear weapons, because none of the world is testing. Even the nuclear powers are not testing it. So that gets diluted. If Iran does it, we know Israel is already nuclear capable. Saudi would want to have a nuclear weapon. It opens up a Pandora box, and the world will eventually go into a very serious nuclear arms race, which we saw way back in 1950s and 60s. At the current scenario, when the situations are already volatile, this is going to create an havoc, I would say, So China has officially denied it. They say it's a rumor, it's been a narrative which has been built on us. Don't believe in this, we are a very responsible nation. But the satellite imageries and the interpretations of the satellite imagery is not lying. They are up for something. We guarded our nuclear secrets to quite a level. CEPRI estimates around 150 to 200 nuclear warheads which about India has. But the scale at which China is testing is about one city and one nuclear missile. So let's see how this entire thing falls out. It's a very unfortunate situation and it's a very serious situation. But we all believe that nuclear race will eventually kill the human race, eventually will finish off the human race. But if you actually see the countries which went nuclear, and because of the nuclear balance which was happening in the last 50 years, the mankind has been saved by nuclear this thing. If China would have been nuclear and India would have not been a nuclear country, then anytime China had the luxury of finishing off or wiping off few of our cities of our country. The moment we were nuclear capable, and especially when we tested a thermonuclear weapon, and when we have completed the nuclear triad, air, land, sea and underwater, China, this acts as a strong deterrence against any of our adversaries, especially China, to even think about a nuclear strike on us, because our missiles, the Agni's current range pretty much covers almost all part of China, and we can deliver, or we have the second strike capability not only from land. The nuclear triad is complete. So it has been a savior for the human race till date, unless or until it is touched. But the current scenario puts a very different picture. Let's see what happens. Thank you all. Jai Hind.